that what's funny?
Oh, there's another one.
I was trying to go back and forth.
The Keep On Talking Joe podcast. Yeah, I think I nailed it.
All right, Rico, you're good?
Sure. I don't know if you're ready for me though. Coming in brutal.
Okay, let me get in podcaster mode here. I've been
Podcaster
in
mode.
husband mode here for a while, so I got to switch.
Oh, so you're not being my husband on this? You're being
Yeah,
a podcaster?
I'm your husband, but we can't do it like that. So no, so okay, so here we go. This is episode 10, and I wanted to bring you on 10, just so people didn't think all I was putting on here was family and friends.
Double digits.
But I will say this: I think you probably got the occupation that people are most. I don't know if they're interested in it, but they're definitely confused because every time I tell someone my wife streams video games, they're like the old Scooby Doo.
The Mario.
Yeah, they don't understand really what's going on. To be honest, I'm not 100%. So I'll give you my quick take, and then I'm going to throw you in there. When you first started talking about doing it because your brother was doing it, I was like, yeah, I get it. You know, cute girls and videos, and it didn't come across as easy as I thought once we actually once you started doing it. We may talk a little bit about that, but not much. My take, and I'm just going to give you my take. My take is the video game is there for something to talk about, or maybe just like something to talk about. But really, it's that side chat thing is what I think happened. I think this is where lots of new generations come in, and this is how they get their entertainment. Every time I tell someone about you, they say, "Yeah, my grandson or my son sits and watch kids play with toys or unbox toys," and then it's like, yeah, so the world's changed and the way people are entertained are changed. So that's what I wanted to bring you on for. And we're going to add some of your clips you'll send to us so you can kind of explain what people are going to be seeing. We wanted to have a video set up so you could see that, but well, of course, always running behind here. So we're going to set up we'll add some of that footage of some of your gaming so people can see, and then you can kind of tell us what you're doing there and what's happening and how you make money and what your future plans are, what you think the new world of gaming is going to be. And yesterday I was talking to someone and they're like, so what do you think? Do you think Shelby's going to be doing this 20 years from now? I'm like, not this, but something related to this. This will grow into something. I think she's a natural entertainer. I think you're a natural entertainer. You've just never really been able to capitalize on it. And I think that's what this streaming's done is giving you that outlet. And now that you've found that niche, I think that at some point, no matter how this changes, you're going to find your niche there. So tell my audience what you do.
What do? I play a game and
Yeah.
talk to people. That's what I do.
How does
If
that work?
in front of a camera all day long like this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it works. Probably talking too loud, I'm sorry. It works basically. You have to set up a studio just like this. Most people do it in their basement. Some people do it on their couch. I do it in my basement like a weirdo. I'm one of those creepers that live in your basement. But basically, you have different platforms. You got Twitch, you got TikTok, you got Kicks, you got YouTube. You have just anything where you can live stream and you just have a video game and you play and you talk to people. And as long as they're enjoying, you got good vibes, people are going to sit there and watch you. People are going to sit there and have conversation with you. Kind of where you were saying the game is a side note, it depends. If you are a heck of a player of whatever game you're playing, most people are going to watch you just for the gameplay. Some people don't even talk half the time on their streams. They are just there for amazing gameplay. I'm not a professional gamer. I'm there for fun. My stream involves more of just having a good time. We come in, we talk, we talk. Some people come in with their problems. It's almost a counselor sometimes. But I don't give advice. It's not my job to give advice because I don't want that on me. But we just sit there and talk. We have a good time. We sing, we dance, we laugh. We scream, we yell, and people just get a kick out of it. People can play with me. I do have follower days where followers are allowed to get in the game and play the game with me. And sometimes, like if it's a little kid, it literally makes their day to be able to play with a so called streamer. I'm a very low key streamer. I'm not way up there yet, but it still just makes a child's day if they can just play with somebody that streams. Heck, it even makes adults' day just to play with somebody that takes the time out of their day to play as a streamer.
One of my favorite
Stream
YouTubers said my name in a live stream,
it
and that
does.
made my day.
It makes their day for a streamer to give you a shout out.
Yeah.
Some people come into streams, people that don't get attention. And the more you give people attention, the more you're gonna vibe. The more you shout out people, you're gonna vibe. Some of the ones that I watch though, the bigger ups, they don't do that. Sometimes I don't understand how they're famous. I'm like, what causes you to be so famous? But I think at the time, streaming has become so popular that if you try to get into streaming now, you have to put your heart, soul, sweat, everything into it because it's so popular and it's
Right.
at the fingertips of anybody that has a phone. You can do it right here from your phone. You can literally set your phone up in front of your TV and play the game. People call that streamer. Say I'm a streamer.
Yeah.
It doesn't look as professional as you do when you have like the camera, the game, the audios, the lights, but you anybody can do it. So streaming in today's world is not easy. I wouldn't suggest streaming full time to anybody until you can make the same amount of money as you was where you work. That is my one thing. I have the ability to not have to work. I got a nice little hubby over there that allows me to stream. I do bring in an income. My income is definitely not as big as his, but some streamers make anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 a month. It can be profitable, but it's not how it's going to start.
Yeah.
Not at all. It's not how it's gonna start. And you're gonna start out really low. Making money on streams is hard. There's multiple ways to make money on streaming, but it is not easily. I don't get a daily payout. I get a monthly payout. I get a weekly payout, depending on which platforms you stream on. And you have to treat it like a job if you're going to stream. It is consistency, consistency, consistency. And that's not one thing I'm really good at.
Yeah.
That's been my slack. But there for a while, I was popping.
Yeah.
When I first started, I was having 100 people at a time just sitting there watching me play a video game. I thought it was absurd. I'm like, there's literally 111 of you sitting here watching me play a game.
Right.
Why? Like,
I
why?
know that's the crazy part about it. So you said something about how people interact and how kids. I remember a little girl, and it just made my day when you said it. She said something, and she had that real country accent, and she says, I've never got to play with a real streamer, a professional streamer." And that,
Yeah, I did. Her name was Hattie.
yeah, that kind of stuff. Just I love that. That makes my day.
Yeah, she was awesome. It
Yeah,
made her day. And then, I mean, even adults come in and find it super cool to play with a streamer. And then it just all depends. Some days, like I would have 300 people
yeah,
watching me play in the snow. I'm like, really? Like
yeah.
300 people just watching me. But I also had a pig. Don't get me wrong, there was a pig involved, but just 300 people watched us play in the snow. And we weren't even playing a video game that day because me, I'm more of it's a variety. I focus on video games, but we do just kind of like morning chats or evening chats. We do karaoke time. We do multiple different things because I'm not one person that can just sit and do one thing over and over and over. I I'm not gonna lie, I get bored. I get bored playing Fortnite 8 hours a day.
Well, yeah, I can't imagine
It's
anybody would.
it's very boring and people that have made it, bigger streamers that like especially the ones that I watch, they only stream for about 4 hours.
Yeah,
And that's about your typical. But some of them that don't have anything else to do, they will stream. You have streamers out there that are just it's their life. They're married to it. Their spouse is married to it. So that's all they got.
well,
And they enjoy it. They have a great time. But for me, I have a husband, kids, a house. I have other things that makes it harder for me to be able to make that my life.
well, I would say though that some of these people are supporting a husband or a wife and children just as if this is a full-time occupation, and it is a
Definitely.
full-time occupation. And with any, I work a lot too. I put a lot of hours in, and
Mhm.
so I can understand, why these people are doing that to get the because it's not easy to just get someone to voluntarily or pay you for
Mhm.
entertainment. The only way they're going to do that is for them to know um,
You're gonna be there.
that's yeah, that you're gonna be there,
You're
and
gonna be there.
that's the only way you can do that for that amount of time. It's basically a tip-based
Mhm.
economy. What you're doing there is mostly, even if they subscribe to you, that's still kind of a tip. That's we like what you're doing. We want you to be able to keep doing it. So here you
Yeah,
go.
that's pretty much the subscribing is basically just it's just supporting because they want you to continue, so they're trying to help. I have followers that, they'll gift me more just so it goes towards the stream because everything I use it goes back towards my stream. That's what I'm telling them. Like the more subs we get, the more things we can do with the stream. The more income coming in on the stream, the more we can do. We do, a lot of people will do giveaways and drawings and I mean, I know one streamer like every other month she gives away a PS5. That tells you how much revenue she brings in. She brings in quite a bit. And I talked to her. That was what kind of got me into streaming
Right.
was talking to her and she told me about it. She worked a full-time job and streamed in the evenings and she said it was very overwhelming. She's like, because I went to work, came home, got on a game for 5 to 6 hours. Um, and then she's like, when COVID hit, it allowed her to work from home, so it made streaming a little easier on her. And then it just became so easy that it basically she was making the same amount of money.
Hmm.
But she also started in a time before it was super, super big as it is now. And that's like people go out there like, yeah, I stream, I stream, I stream. And I'm like, yeah, anybody can stream. And they tell you right away, if you have a camcorder, put it on your face.
Hmm.
There's no reason why people should not put a camera on their face and try to make money. It's literally at your fingertips. Now it's not easy. You're not gonna make a lot. I don't make a killing, but I make enough for me to continue to do what I do. I have an awesome community that I'm still trying to grow. I have over, and this is very men minimum compared to some, but I mean, I got over 5,000 people that commit to me.
Right.
Um, but you're still trying to grow because they might hit the follow button, but that doesn't mean they always just going to come back and sit and watch.
So subscribers, those are people who basically just pay you monthly.
They pay you monthly.
How many? What's the largest number of subscribers you've ever had?
I've had 212.
212 people paying you
And
several a few
it
dollars
was
a
just a
month,
few
just
dollars a month.
and that's not giving them any access to anything more than anyone else, or does it?
Yes, a subscribe for me, a subscriber, if I'm playing with people, they get first dibs.
Okay.
They'll always be first on the list. Um, Pretty much where I was at, subscribers could play every day with me. Slowly, I'm not necessarily getting out of that completely, but part of my streams I am doing where I'm just doing solos. But subscribers do have perks. You get a subscriber only chat where you can personally message me. We have our own little chat group that just the followers aren't in. And then you get like certain um, platforms have emotes or stickers that we create to put on the stream for them to use. Subscribers, that's a perk for them. They get these really cool sound effects and stickers and things that they can use. And then they also are more into, for me, I do giveaways for my subscribers. So at least once a week, we do a V-Buck giveaway, which a V-Buck is a type of currency you use on the game we play. So everybody's always excited when it's a giveaway.
Yeah. So, what I'd like you to do for the next round of questions is explain this like you're explaining it to your grandmother. Because I
Oh
think
my
we'll probably have a
gosh.
lot of people check into this because you have a lot of people who know you. I mean, you just said you had 5,000 followers, so I think a lot of people might check it out just because you're on here, and those people know what's going on. They know what's going on better than me, and probably better than you in some cases. But the people that I really wanted to talk to about, like this, my podcast is out there for people to have insight into someone's life too. They're like so like it blows them away because it's so different than what they're realizing. So, I mean, like your grandmother or someone like that, they don't understand what streaming is. To them, you're gonna have to explain it to them as if it's a television show. I guess it would be like live news, you
I,
know?
I don't really know if you want to call it live news, but I don't really know how to explain it. I mean,
Well, it is a live feed.
it's a live feed,
I
so
think,
you see exactly what I'm doing at all hours that I'm live.
right. They can interact with you.
They can. There's a chat.
And how does that work?
You
Now,
can
there's
chat with me.
2 different chats going on at one time, correct?
For
Um,
me, there is because I stream on 2 different platforms at once.
well, isn't there also you're communicating with the people you're playing with through the game?
Yes. So
See,
you have
I wanted the people to really understand how
I'm mentally exhausted by the end of the
yeah.
day, let's tell you. Because
So,
for me, when I wake up in the morning, I go downstairs. My day starts early. I start streaming about 7:30 most mornings because I do have a child that likes to do things in the afternoon. But for me, you log in, I go live on TikTok, I go live on Twitch. I have not experienced YouTube yet, but that was supposed to happen this week. So fingers crossed we go live on YouTube this week. So when you go live, pretty much what you're seeing right here on this camera is what they're seeing. Whatever I'm doing at that exact moment, they'll come in, they can say hi, they can send like TikTok. You get a daily heart me, and they're just like, hey, and it's a big support. Heart me's are super important on
okay.
TikTok, which is a coin you spend out of your money. It's your currency. 1 coin on TikTok equals 1 penny. So you're spending 1 penny to send me a heart me to help support my stream.
And that helps you with
And that helps me
TikTok's
with
what is that
TikTok.
algorithm
Yes, algorithm keeps
and
you
the
on the
heart me's.
FYP page. Yes, it keeps you up there on the FYP page. FYP page stands for you page is if anybody out there uses TikTok and you're scrolling, that's called an FYP page. Um,
So just for the audience who doesn't scroll, so TikTok platform is got
short video based.
videos and some lives going,
Mhm.
and you can flip as if you're flipping through a
Yes,
channel on a
on
television
television. Yes,
and go through
and you find out what you want
not
to watch.
not like the channels that we were used to when I was a kid, going through potentially thousand of I
I
don't know.
will. I will tell you this. I downloaded TikTok probably a year and a half ago. The very first day I downloaded TikTok, this is really embarrassing to say. And this is not a lie. 7 hours
Mhm.
is what I spent on
I
TikTok,
think that's
just
common. That first, yeah.
scrolling. It goes by so fast because TikTok is made up. People's attention span is so short these days because of all of the
Short.
short videos out there. So like, I don't like to watch movies anymore
I
because
know.
I'm over it.
I know.
I'm like, is it over yet?
You watched one with me last night, and I
I
felt so bad. I wasn't feeling very well, but I was like, I'm not going to give up on this movie because she's actually watching one with me,
I did, but 15
and
seconds is all you
barely.
need.
Hey, and I give you props. You barely looked at your phone more than 50 or 60 times through the movie,
I
so you
did
did a really good
not.
job.
I did
Yeah.
not look at my phone but one time to turn on one stream, and I set it aside and turned it down just to be a supporter. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
That's what you do. You support people.
Right.
So anyway, so on TikTok, like I said, 15 seconds is like the most common for a video. And so as you go, you have just somebody's goofy video out there singing, dancing, or doing something completely dumb. Or you'll go through a live. And during that live, like I said, they could be chit chatting, they could be playing a game, they could be playing music, they could be drawing, they could be doing absolutely anything in the world. That there's no limits to what you can just stream anymore. So if I was explaining this to my grandmother, which she's starting to understand a little bit what I do because she actually called me this or told our child this morning, your mother's working this morning. I was like, yay, you consider it work. I got so
Yeah.
excited because most people will not consider a streamer a
Well,
job. It really is hard to understand that it's a job.
that's something I wanted to get into with you
We'll get it.
about
Yeah.
later. Yeah.
Okay. So when you're interacting with me on, let's just say TikTok for one. TikTok, I'm going to come up on your phone. I'll be at the top of the screen. It can be different for anybody, but for me, I'm at the top of the screen. The game plays at the bottom of the screen. Also, what comes at the bottom of the screen is everybody that's in there chatting. You have the ability to type just like you're writing a text message. It will come up just like you're writing a text message. TikTok is kind of, they don't like dirty, bad things, so you have to keep it really clean. But I will interact with you. You can ask me a question. I'm going to answer your question immediately. Um, like I said, with subs, they get really cool stickers that I create, and they get to use those to tell me like good game or that's a W. The W is just it's a win. It's a
Mhm.
W. A lot of them have hydrates. There's hydrate stickers, making sure your streamer's drinking enough water because sometimes we get so focused and we don't drink water. With me, I'm a very interactive streamer, more to the chat than I am the game. I die a lot because I'm more focused on the chat. And when some streamers stream on multiple platforms, and what I mean by that is there's TikTok, there's Twitch, there's Kicks, there's YouTube. Some streamers stream on every single one of those, so they're
At the
interacting with
same
at the
time.
same time. So I'm over here talking to somebody on Twitch while also talking to somebody on TikTok,
While also talking
while
to the
also
person in
talking
the
to people
game.
that are in the game with me. So when you play Fortnite, Fortnite is an arena to play with about 100 people. We go on a battle bus, we jump off, the last man standing wins.
It's a first person shooter kind of thing,
It's
right?
not first person, but
Well, I
it's
mean,
third
you
person
run
now.
around and
Yeah, you run around and you can get teams. There's solo, duos, trios, squads. Squads, there's usually 3 other people on my team. Normally that's what I play is squads. So while chit-chatting with my squad on Fortnite through my headset that I wear, I'm also chatting through a mic just like this, chatting with people that are actually watching the stream. And sometimes it gets crazy. I like my mute buttons because I'll mute them that I'm
Right.
chatting to here in my ear, to my squad, just to be able to talk to the people in chat. When you say chat, that are the people that are watching you on stream that are chatting and asking you questions, and it can just be anything. We usually start our mornings off talking about what we had for breakfast. What everybody had for breakfast on
while
Fridays.
running around
While running
shooting.
around, playing a game, shooting people. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's usually a lot. And then like Tuesday night, we were playing customs, which customs is a thing that I don't know how to explain this. It's when you become when you get a hold an Epic account, you can become support a creator with Epic. Epic is who owns Fortnite. These people are kind of like what you call an affiliate, sort of. We earn money because we get called what's a creator code. People can use our creator code. Mine is what's here on this little mug up here.
Yeah.
It's called
Oh,
HGAL.
we need to turn that around because
It's called
yeah.
HGAL. So Fortnite, you can buy characters. It has a shop, and you go in, you buy what they call skins, which are characters you play with. And
Like
when
an
I mentioned
avatar,
earlier,
right?
pretty much an avatar that you fall
That's
down in the game,
that's where
that gets expensive.
well, and it also gets really confusing for someone like me. I'm like, so you just man, Enoch, our son, he plays different games like that too, and he'll buy things on there, and he'll want to spend money, and I'm like, but you don't have
It's
anything
not real.
real. It's on it's just on some.
It's a digital
Yeah,
character.
that's something really new. I think
A
we
lot of Fortnite kind of got a little bit in trouble with that because kids were spending so much money and these parents were like, on what? But
mm,
they have to understand when you buy a character, you're not physically getting a character. It's literally on the game itself. And I'm not gonna lie, I spend quite a bit of money in
well,
that shop because like right now it's Star Wars. Who
yeah.
doesn't want Darth Vader or a Luke Skywalker? Him over there. The only reason why he has other skins is because of me.
Well, let's clarify this for my generation.
He does play Fortnite.
I do play Fortnite, and I do. I enjoy it, but I also really like being able to sit down at some. I mean, we don't do this often, but I mean, you and me can
Mhm.
be playing. My daughter can be,
Mhm.
at her mom's house, 2 counties away. My son could jump on there. And we could all play
I mean,
together.
really, that's what got us started is
hmm
COVID.
Yeah,
We were all
there's nothing else to
separated
do.
and there was nothing to do, so we downloaded Fortnite and we're all in different areas around the world. I
Mm.
mean, I've played with people from Australia, from Russia, from the UK. I've met so many people out there in the world that it's crazy to think that it's
Well,
like, yeah.
we're gonna have Tristan put some of that gameplay on, and maybe some little more information about that because that game, and I know it's just one of many. I mean, you got Call of Duties and Black Ops, and a lot of these people. I don't think anybody understands how. What's the word for it, Tristan? The world. It's like a world building. How large like those worlds are.
Scale?
Yeah, so, I know I mean, I can be playing a game and be on a map that's 10 miles in circumference and in the water, out in the middle of nowhere, dive down and see coral. Somebody is building this game so detailed. And
Yeah. Like
and
right now with the Star Wars, you have the Death Star up in the sky. If people don't know what Star Wars is, I'm so sorry. But
yeah.
it's a
No, so if you
spaceship
don't know
that
what
Darth
Star Wars is,
Vader.
don't you shouldn't be watching.
Yeah, well, anyway, so the graphics that they've put in just to the Star Wars season to me is just outrageous because in the sky on Fortnite, you can take your character, and look up. You're looking at a blue sky, and there sits a Death Star, and then you have TIE fighters shooting, and you see the little red shooting, the little fire that it actually shoots out, like the bullets shoot
Yeah.
out. You see them in the sky fighting, and they're flying around you, while you're down here on a map where you actually see butterflies and crickets and frogs jump, and
And
you see that
somebody
it's
across the world, and
crazy.
I'm getting a little too close, and somebody from Australia running, and you're seeing that in real time. I mean,
Mhm,
you're seeing these people interact into this map together. It is a little bit out mind-boggling when I think about it.
mhm.
It almost seems a little bit magic because I can't, my mind can't scientifically put in, 100, and then how many games are going at one time on top of that?
Well, if you like, when this morning when I got on Twitch before I went live, I seen there was 46,000 lives, like streams going just for Fortnite.
And
And next to that was Call of Duty, and there was 56,000 lives going for Call of Duty. And then when you get on Fortnite, it tells you how many people are playing, and like usually there's hundreds of thousands people playing
all day
just
long.
one map, and they don't even count the other maps. There's different ways you can play on this game. There's a what's called a battle royale. There's a reload. They're all just different maps. I mean, you're talking there's 50,000 people on battle royale. There's 113,000 people on zero build battle royale, and then there's 36,000 people playing on reload. I mean, the amount of people that are just playing on this one game,
And the amount of processing power to make that happen
it's
in real
it's
time
it's crazy.
all over the world. I mean,
And all
literally
over the world, they're the
real
majority of
time
them are all talking to one another too. Like literally, these people
communicating.
are all communicating at once.
It is a little bit mind-boggling when you
If
think
you've
about it.
ever, I don't know if many people ever watched the Hunger Games. The concept is when
Yeah,
they drop them on that island in Hunger Games, it's the last man standing.
and there's a
It's very similar to
and
this.
there's a storm that is poisonous to
Yes,
your
and we
character
have that as
that
well.
is continually
Pushing
closing
you,
in.
pushing you together so that way you eventually
Yeah,
have to fight.
we'll make sure and add some of that in too. Just explain that to people who don't play. Um, so that way, it's similar to a tournament elimination.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With streaming, there's multiple ways to make money at streaming. Like I said, there's the subs, there's just coins. But with each platform, you can become partners. So you work your way up. Like what one you get called affiliates, and then you get called a partner. And you could even partner with these game companies. So a lot of streamers that I watch, they are partnered with Fortnite themselves. So they are making money with Fortnite, and also through because they're also partnered with Twitch or TikTok, whatever they are. So, and then on top of that, they're making money from Fortnite, they're making money from Twitch, they're making money from the subs, and they're making money from the ads, they're making money from the coins. There's so much revenue that people don't realize. I feel like sometimes it's crazy to spend
I feel
money
like
on
sometimes
somebody
it's
that
always
watches a game.
crazy.
It's absolutely nuts that people pay me for me to play a game.
Well, the only way I can say is we have to understand. I guess you got as a group of people, my audience has to understand that this is no different than someone subscribing to HBO.
Yeah.
You're paying for entertainment, and if you don't pay that entertainment, then the entertainment's not going to be there. The only difference I would say is,
So it's almost like a sponsor
yeah,
sometimes because you can
right.
get sponsors.
You got to have people really like you.
Or if I look at you like my husband gets a little jello every once in a while, a little jealous from people. And
Mhm.
today I got a gift, and
Yeah.
he was baffled that somebody sent me a gift, and the amount that it costed this person to send me this gift, he was baffled by that as
I'm not
well.
baffled at all. I kind of have an idea of what's going on, and that may be why I get the way I get.
He gets a little, like I said, but I tell him, you have to look at it this way. It's an investment. They're investing in the stream, just like with the shop. You have people that invest in your shop because they want it to succeed. And that's what I look at it as. I look at it as everybody that supports me is just a small investment of becoming something bigger than what we are.
The more they support you, better the show they're watching is.
And the more
Well,
support, the better things can be.
I guess just since we got off on this topic, yeah, I had a really hard time with it after when you really started. I was pretty encouraging to get you going, but then that first guy that made those compliments, and then it's
It's
like,
hard. It's not
then
for the
your
weak.
and then your mind starts to wonder. It's like, well, they're doing this and they're giving her all these money for what I have no clue. And then I'm like, then your mind starts, well, if they're saying all this on this one, or what are they messaging her? And then your mind starts to even wonder a little more, and it's like, well, what is she messaging them? And the next thing you know, you're sleeping on the floor in your office
Because
because
he's
you're
mad.
so mad.
I will.
It's
That's one thing
really
about
hard.
streaming. Streaming is hard on a married couple. Streaming is not easy for a married couple. If one is more jealous than the other, and for him and I, we both are a little on the jealous
Well,
side. And I get it. It's not easy. I
yeah.
mean, it's not easy for me to
Well,
sit
I
here
mean,
and him have a woman sit across from this table that's not me.
mhm.
But you have to understand that it's a job.
Well, let me
It's
say this about that. I don't. Most of the people who know us, and probably the most people that are watching us, can tell that we're quite a difference in age.
mm,
Yeah, so you're much younger than me. I know it may be hard to believe. I don't know. But I'm in saying that my generation we grew up differently. We didn't have cell phones on our, we didn't have,
mhm.
we were the beginnings of video games. That's when they all started. There was no such thing as streaming. Hell, there wasn't even, internet for the most part, till the end of that. So most everything we did interaction wise was directly with one person. So if you were out and someone said something like that about your girlfriend or your boyfriend, it was on right then. I mean, it wasn't like this person's in Australia, you
Yes.
know, and it wasn't like this person could secretly start talking to them unless, it took a lot more. But now with someone streaming, yeah, they're across the world. I I have
You have no
no
idea.
idea who or how, and I have no idea what they're saying, that's not there. So yeah, to be honest, it is really hard. Now, the reason that I mean, we went through a pretty rough patch there in the beginning when you started streaming, but I could not ask you to quit because I just seen so much potential, and I seen how how much you enjoyed it, but more so I saw how it fit you so good. I've done a lot of things in my life, and since you've been with me, we've taken on a lot of different things, and you always step right up, but you're always kind of telling me. I'm like, hey, I want to do this, and you're like, "Oh, okay, and the next thing you know, you're 100% in, and you've always been very supportive like that. But nothing to this point I've seen it just didn't take off. I just see how good you're at it. That's it. You really is it. I see how good you are at it, and it would be kind of um, stingy of me not to share that with the world, to allow you to share that with the world. So,
I will
so
say this as one, but what we dealt with at the beginning, it goes away.
mm,
It goes away. I'm
mm.
not saying your feeling about it doesn't go away. I'm saying the comments go away. Once you start putting it out there to the world, everybody that I stream, they know I'm married, they know I have kids. We talk about my husband, we talk about the kids, we talk about my entire daily life all the time.
Yeah,
As soon as everybody comes in, they're like, "How's the hubby? How's the kiddo?" I mean, they get to know you well enough that it stops.
yeah,
For all new streamers, yeah, it gets old. It's like, okay, that's enough. You can shut up now. It
yeah,
gets old, but as you build and as you grow, people will learn.
yeah,
They learn boundaries, and most of them don't come back.
yeah,
Most of them is that you when you basically when you stop the flirting, they don't come back.
yeah,
And you have to stand your ground. As a married person, you have to stand your ground. Um, even if and like I said, I don't necessarily let my kid on, but every once in a while.
yeah.
But people know who he is. Everybody. That's why I said we're a very family friendly community. For most people that know me, some of you that watch this do know me. I have a mouth.
Yeah.
But I do not use words or inappropriate anything like that on stream just because I do have kids that
Right.
watch, and I don't want to just sit there and say filthy things in front of, even though I
Right.
say them in front of my own kid, but other people's kids, I kind of don't want to.
But you can set it up to be 18 and
You
over.
can set your streams up to be 18 plus, and then it's still kind of what you could say on TikTok. TikTok is just one of those platforms that just TikTok was created for children. Most people don't know that. TikTok was actually created more for kids, but adults
Well, it
have
was
taken it
didn't
over.
it wasn't called Musically or something like
Yeah, and
that? It
then
was
they
about
changed it.
sharing music at one point?
Yeah, TikTok and that kind of stuff was created a lot more for the kid base.
Well, I
So
think that's
that's why they don't like any of the cussing and the back. You can't hate talk. You I mean you can't even when somebody asks how like Reba was a famous little person. Reba was my pig. You can't even write the word pig in chat.
Really?
You can't use the word white. Can't use the word black.
Yeah.
You cannot use the word ass or any of those words. It will give you if you write something that's like I told Steven one time, my brother, he was live, and I said, "Why do you look like a crayon?" It took my comment away. It wouldn't even tell him what I said. And I was like, "Really? You're gonna mute me because I said the word crayon?" So TikTok, so other platforms like Twitch.
Yeah, and
Twitch doesn't care.
you
Twitch, you can say whatever you want. It's scary sometimes.
you've started Twitch too, so that's
Yes,
another
I have
platform.
started Twitch. I
Okay.
actually started on Twitch. I did Twitch before I did TikTok. That's why I became affiliate so fast, because for TikTok before, when I first started on TikTok, you'd have 1,000 followers before you could go live on TikTok. I think they've changed it now. But before, you could even, like, little tip, guys, you could fill out an application to go live as long as you have proof that you have supposedly sent videos somewhere else. Like if you post a video on YouTube, you can go on TikTok and say, "Hey, I got a YouTube account, so let me go live," and they will. They'll let you go live, and then you can build up to those followers. You get so many days, and if you don't reach it in so many days, then yeah, you can't go. Your access to live is gone. But I think they've let up on that. But it used to, yeah, it was 1,000. I reached my 1,000 in like 2 months. It was a grind. It was a real big grind. And I think that was a lot of the issues when it came to your spouse. Is I was on from like 5 o'clock at night to 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
And that's when he would get home, but that was the best time to be live. And those are the things with, like him and we have changed my schedule to where I'm trying to be done streaming by the time he gets home.
Right.
So that way we still have family time. And then Wednesdays is our family time. He tries not to book a podcast, and I definitely don't stream on Wednesday nights. And I don't stream on the weekends
Yeah.
because of the kids.
I'd like to kind of tune in on that one too. Our schedules are insane. I don't think I envy people. I had the Hitman Danny Stoner on last podcast, and with Michael Shoecraft and Chico, some of my old fighters, and I really got jealous of Danny, because he's like he lives in a small town. He everything he does he loves. He's a barber. He has a lot of kids, and he says, "Man, I don't have to work. I have to go do this for fun. I would do it for free." And when I look at my schedule, which some days starts at 4 and some days ends at 11, and then your schedule, and then with our kids and their schedules, and now I've added in this podcast. I mean, we are constantly going, so that's
We see each other a few hours out of the day.
yeah, that's hard though. But
We do try to keep our weekends clear. And
yeah,
I will say that streaming or any type of, I guess, live podcasting, anything out there that you want to do with, what is the word I'm looking for here, Tristan?
you have to be committed to
You
do anything,
you have to be and your spouse has to be committed.
and your children.
Your children, because our son doesn't understand. He thinks I get to just stay home and play a game. He doesn't see that it's actually what I consider a job. Until just recently, my family didn't see it as a job,
I don't know that I mean,
and some
they're
of them still don't.
well, I mean, here's my thing. I've told you from the beginning that because I always try to research things, and when I look at it and see the people that are successful, they have a schedule and they
Oh, yeah.
stick to it, and they're very, very diligent about that. They're very, and even now, when someone needs something done, families and
They still
friends,
call me.
they're like, "Hey, you don't work, so can you do this for me on this day?" And it's like, people still
Yeah.
do that. But for you to have success, and for me to have success, for anybody out there to be successful in an endeavor that's going to take, you're not just going to step into a job where you're paid a certain amount of money. You have to build.
Consistency is the biggest
If you're going
key
to
to this.
build something, if you're going to build something, it's going to take sacrifice.
Yeah.
And
I mean, even the top streamers, the one, Savage Mike, he's the TikTok has been the last 2 years in a row TikTok #1 streamer in the world. And his number one advice to anybody is consistency, consistency, consistency. And that's
yeah,
not even just going live. Like, I have to make content along with going
yeah,
live. Like, I have to create so many videos a day So that way I stay on people's feed. And what I mean feed is that For You page is
Right. It
people
pops up as you're
that pops up as
scrolling
you're
through.
scrolling. It's an algorithm based. All of streaming is algorithm until you get made.
Yeah.
Once you get made though, and you have people that and then those views just start coming and coming and coming. But until then, it's literally. I mean, this is gonna sound really bad, but when I first started, I lived on my phone 24/7 because not only was I creating content or going live, I was out in other people's lives,
Trying to get noticed.
trying to get noticed. I would go and I would spend money on these people. I would sub, I would gift just so they would hear my name, just to get my name. Like, heaven forbid if she ever seen this podcast or ever came into one of my lives, I might die. But Headshot Chick is is the one that got me streaming.
Yeah.
But she fell in love with Reba Pig, and my pig is what really made me famous. Sadly, I don't have Reba no more, but the hubby here did get me another pig for Mother's Day, so Key's becoming very popular. But going into her live, she has 700 people watching her, at a time, and that's a low day. It's not even one of her highest days, but she loves to talk about my pig, and I told her I got a new pig. Well, guess what she does? She pulls up my name with my pig on her live stream. So 700 people out there seeing the hooligan scowl along with my pig. And that takes work. It takes work to keep your name going out there.
Well,
But eventually it does get exhausting.
for those of you people that don't understand what you're talking about, having a pig on a gaming stream.
I have a live pig.
Yeah.
Her name was Reba.
So I'm going to go back to the fact that this is entertainment. You
Yeah.
are there for entertainment, and I think that's why you've done so well. And I think that's why a lot of smaller streamers don't. Maybe when you get to a certain level, and I know there's a happy girl. She's like one of the biggest,
Mhm.
and she's very entertaining, but she doesn't interact with her chat that much because
When you got 3,000 people talking to you
it's
at one time, you
impossible
can't.
to even
She'll every once
see.
in a while glance over and read one, but
But I think of some of the smaller streamers, they think it's gameplay or different things, but it really you have to be entertaining, and that is on as soon as you turn the camera on until you shut her down. You have to be going. And when I watch you or when I listen to you from upstairs, you are go go go
go,
go
go.
go, very
We are go
energetic,
all the
and it's
time.
got to be exhausting as well as trying to keep up with everything.
Well, it
So,
is for me because I'm still, this low key streamer.
well, you keep saying that, but you're growing pretty
I have
fast.
grown a lot. I have grown a lot in a year. Most people that have been streaming for longer than I have, I'm outdoing them by double.
Well, and
I'm not saying that to be,
you
I'm
should
not
be
trying to
proud of
be
what you.
cocky or anything like that,
Not.
but
You can be proud of what you've
I have
accomplished.
I have worked really hard for what I've accomplished. Like that's another problem. Like why I say that streaming's not for the weak when you're married, unless you and your spouse are both married to it as well. Because like he was mentioning, happy girl. Her husband sits right next to her in the room with her. That is her tech guy right there. He's with her 24/7. So that is their life together. It's not just about her, it's both of them. So where him and I have different things going, it's hard for us sometimes because he's doing this, I'm doing that. So our schedules aren't the same. And I'm like, I got to do this and I got to do that. And he's like, can I have an hour with you? So when you're going into streaming, it is not for the weak.
Yeah, definitely.
And her entertainment is completely different than my entertainment.
Oh yeah.
What really built her up is she does dances every so many likes. It started out just, 5,000 likes. She'd get up. And what I mean by dances is that on the game Fortnite, you have what's called emotes, which are dances where your character will do a dance. She learns those dances and she does them after people sit there and tap your screen. You're tapping, and that's liking the live. And it built her up. So she started out because I went all the way back. This is what I do. I research streamers. I went all the way back to where she first started. She was actually an Apex Legends player when she first started. She didn't play Fortnite.
Which is a different game.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
similar
completely
to
different game.
Fortnite.
Similar but different. But she started on Apex, and then I even watched the first clip where she first tried Fortnite, and then that's when she started learning the dances. That's what got her popular. People like to watch her dance.
I'm a little unclear on this. Is she learning the dances in real life and like
Yes.
imitating? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she actually she clicks the emote,
And
the dance.
as it starts,
As
she
it
dance
starts
with it
dancing,
in sync.
in sync, she dances with it.
Yeah, it's fun.
So it's fun.
It's fun.
We can
That's
get
what it is. You got to keep it fun. That's everything about it. It's entertaining and fun, and
yeah.
gets people's mind off of their daily days, that worries and things, and they get to check out a little bit and watch
I mean,
some pretty girl have a lot of fun.
it's basically like making a phone call without actually making the phone call. You just get to step in and you talk to people. A friend of mine, which she's technically an aunt of mine, she doesn't she's all she's been a very sick lady, so she hasn't worked in the last several years. She's always dealt with health problems and stuff, and she's came into my life and has made so many friends.
Yeah, that's
She's
great. And let's just give her a
and
shout out.
she,
What is her name? What is
Glitter
her name?
Ninja.
Glitter Ninja.
Yeah, Glitter
And
Ninja is and what
what's her name?
her name her
You forgot your aunt's
and no,
name?
but
You only
I
know
don't know if she
Glitter
would want me
Ninja?
to say it,
Say
so
it. Say
I'm
it. Say
not
it.
saying her
Give
name.
us her first name.
Her name is Kelly.
Her first name's Kelly. Yeah, we're not gonna edit it out. I'm gonna take
I'm
liberties here.
like, she's
Kelly,
like,
Glitter Ninja, thank you for
she,
all your help. And she does this. She comes in and does what's called moderating.
yeah.
She helps watch the chat so things don't get out of
Yeah, a
hand.
moderator is somebody that has control of the chat. So a moderator basically has the power to mute you, delete you, block you, all of the above. If you're coming in and you're being hateful, that moderator is going to click on your name and say goodbye. They're going to they'll give you a warning, which a warning we do is mute you for a few minutes. And then after you're unmuted and you come in and you're still being hateful, you just get blocked immediately. Um, you're allowed to have, I think on Twitch you can have as many you want. On TikTok you can have 30, and I will give you one. I have great mods. Glitter is an amazing mod. She's there with me every single day, every day. One day I did a last minute 24-hour stream, and she's like, "Oh, I got me some of this and this and this. I'm ready to go." And she literally just sat in there and she just taps the screen. She keeps the chat talking.
That 24-hour stream is hard.
But she did. She sat up with me all night with that. I told her to go to bed. I'm like, "You can go to bed." She's old.
Well,
I'm like, "Go to
I
bed."
think she would probably rather her name be in and
And not
not.
that old. She
Yeah,
says her no, but she's
she's
known
not
as
that old.
Auntie Glitter. Everybody calls her Auntie
Yeah,
Glitter,
she's not
and
all that old.
she's actually became very popular through the community because she has
Well,
made
that's
so many
great.
friends. She actually got into playing Fortnite. She loves it. She's made I can't tell you how many people she plays with so many different people now. Used to she only plays solo, but she's created so many friends through my stream that she plays with my followers because they became friends.
That's a good
And
thing to point out too.
that's to me that's what
Streaming.
I enjoy the most. The reason why I started streaming was to basically to make friends,
Yeah.
but the number one reason is just because my model is to smile.
Yeah.
If I make you smile, my day is complete. I don't want anything else from you. I just want you to come in and let me know that you smiled.
Well, so you enjoy what you're doing because it's fun and you're happy, and
Mhm.
that's what I really think
You
you're go-
do get some annoying players
well, of
though.
course, but I think anybody. It's like when I was telling you about Danny, what he's doing with his life, and he really enjoys it. He has and when you go into something like that and you really enjoy it and you have fun and the stress isn't there, I think that's when you're at your best. You're going to be at your best, and then you have people. This I like to bring in people with different points of view. I had, let's see, who was it? Tristan, Terrace Swanson came in,
Mhm.
and she brought a lot to the table, and unfortunately we lost that. And she's coming back, and Caleb, her husband's coming in too. So, but we have different viewpoints. Everything from a pastor to a tattoo artist, and I like to see things from a pretty subjective, or I'm sorry, objective viewpoint where people judge people way too harshly. I mean, and I know I'm getting a little off point here, but the streaming, so many people are so hard on that, and
Well,
anything to
you want to
do
know
with
what
that.
the worst is on streaming though? Kids are mean.
Well, yeah,
You gotta think. Like I was like, adults can come in and be mean, but kids are mean.
right. But what I'm going for more is like being judged outside of streaming. People
Well,
who
true.
don't do it. I mean, we got a guy who works here, and
He absolutely doesn't understand it
well,
whatsoever.
he will be, he'll be on my podcast one day. We tried a few, and we now that we got things worked out, we're gonna get him back on. But he is going to be judgmental about anything that's not from the
70s,
80,
80s.
80s and 90s, and people can just be so sure that their way is the right way. Like, and they will judge people who do this. But now, if you want to step back and look at it, there may be some negatives there, but at the same time, you got people that aren't able to do things.
Mhm.
They're not able to get out and do what this person over here might be, um, condemning the whole setup for. But now they're able to meet hundreds, thousands of people
Mhm.
across the world
That's why I said
from
we've
their
made
living
so
room.
many friends.
Yeah, so there's so many good, instead of always, I would say I would hope people would start instead of immediately going to the negative. Let's first try to start finding something we all can agree on.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of been a thing for my podcast is let's not start where we disagree and
Yeah.
argue about it. Let's go to where we agree and then work our way down from there. It's easier to understand what's going on. It's easy to be pissed off at someone at something you completely disagree about. It's
Yeah.
easy. But it's also easier to maybe come to some consensus if you start on something you agree with and work backward.
And I think that's why people like the live streaming just with anything. It's just you finally find somebody that connects with you more than anything. Because people out there, like you say, like grandmas, like my grandfather, he
Totally
does
doesn't get it.
does not get it. He doesn't understand it. He's like, just go out and get a real job. And he even believes that with starting your own business.
Mhm.
He thinks it's completely absurd to start your own business. And it's just like,
Yeah.
okay. But he absolutely has no idea.
Well,
Sometimes I think he's starting to grasp it a little bit, but then other times I think he's not. Because I told him and I've showed him how much money I've made, he's starting to come around a little bit, but not enough. But like for me, it's just the world is mean. The
can be.
world is, I don't know, it's cruel. So you can almost escape in these lives almost. It's almost like a fantasy sometimes because we come in there and it's like we don't even know what's going on in the world, which I sit in like I said, a basement room in our house and it's like, I don't even know half the
Very
time what it's doing
I'm gonna
outside.
I'm gonna say a very expensive basement. Just
Well, anyway, I'm
studio.
just saying it's a beautiful studio, but half the time I don't even know what's going on outside, and we're so lost in our own world
It's
that
yeah,
it's an escape.
escape.
It's an escape for
When I
people.
do play video games, that's the main reason is I want to shut it all down and get lost in this
And I
game
think
or
that's why people enjoy watching the lives too, because they can just escape, and they
yeah,
got somebody there showing them attention. Um, for the most part, if
yeah,
you come into mine, you're gonna get noticed.
yeah.
Um, but it's just I don't know. We don't do the whole.
Sorry,
Sorry.
was that you?
Yeah, that was me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We don't do the whole negative stuff. It's always good vibes.
Yeah,
Always good vibes.
I like that.
If you're having a bad day, most definitely, we're gonna talk about it. We're
Yeah,
gonna talk about your bad day. We're not.
it's a good
We
group.
have people. We have different people come. Like one that has become a really good friend of mine. Um, it sometimes makes me cry for how I don't know the word for it, but he's very similar to my father.
Hmm.
Same birthday,
Mm,
same kidney disease,
mm,
same and same favorite song.
yeah,
I mean, and he's become a really good friend. Um, but he lives way over there. But it's just I don't know. People with losing my father to a kidney disease. I don't know. He just. I'm not trying to say this to make
no,
anybody jealous or anything, but he does. Like it's a special place for me because it's just like I understand that
yeah,
to a point because it is hard, and I know like his numbers here lately have not
yeah,
been the greatest, but and I'll tell anybody this. I had a lady that I worked for. I'll give you my kidney because she got
yeah,
diagnosed with a kidney disease. I'm like, I'll give you my kidney. I'm like, it might not be great, but I'll give you my kidney.
yeah.
But it's just those connections that people can make like that with streaming. And I think that's why it's also become very popular because people can just make connections.
Right.
And
It's so Tristan, real quickly, look up. Oh, not even on screen. You don't have to look it up on there. You can look it on your phone. My phone. Anyhow, I need you to look up Cheers and tell me what the actor's name who played Norm was. He just passed
oh
away.
yeah, that's right. I was trying to think of his name. Yeah, I seen a picture of her
Yeah,
walking up him going
yeah,
Norm.
Norm. The reason I'm asking that is,
George Windit. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
yeah, I think it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Close enough. Yeah, so really great guy. I seen that, and every time I see those guys that I kind of grew up with, it's a little disheartening, but it also makes me a little smile a little bit because I remember how awesome they were. Um, and we watched Robin Williams movie last night, and
Yes,
I
we did.
just remembered how awesome that guy was. But anyways, getting off point, the reason I brought that up is I really do believe that the streaming world, especially those chats and things, excuse me, I think that's the new Cheers. I think
Yeah,
that's where people come to hang out.
it is.
And I think part of that may be due to COVID because people were trapped inside and they couldn't, and then
COVID
they just
really brought the
found this
streaming world
they
to
found this
play.
easy way instead of having to get dressed up and ready to go
And go
out.
out. Let's play a
You
game.
can just sit there in your house and interact with hundreds of
But
people.
it's not even just playing a game. You could just get on
Sure.
stream and talk.
Right.
People just have talking ones where you just come in
Well,
and chit chat.
we had a podcast we did we streamed on Facebook.
Yeah, you just do
And
that. That's
we're
what you
gonna
do.
do other podcasts like that, and I've even considered
Thought
doing
about doing it tonight with this one, but my phone was dead.
yeah. So when we may do that again, I mean, we'll get you back in. I told you that I wanted you on a 10th one because I wanted to make sure people knew that I wasn't just out here grabbing my friends and family, making my kids sit here, different things. Um, so I wanted to wait to put you on for 10. So we'll have you back on maybe on 20 or 30 or something like that, and then maybe we'll
Every
stream
decade.
that when we'll dual stream it like on your platform and then on ours too, so people can really get an idea how that works. But
Yeah,
the
it's
world changes, and if we don't realize that, we're gonna get left behind.
yeah.
I was talking about this, I think, one of my last podcasts that the people that I think understand the new generation better than anybody is the extremely old generation that's wealthy. And people are really confused at why I say that. And the reason I say that is because these people who are wealthy got there for a reason. And how they've done it is they've watched generation after generation, decade after decade, new things come. They may not like those new things and they may not even understand those new things, but they understand one thing, that next generation is changing. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't change with them,
You're
you're
behind.
you're going to be behind. You need to provide that generation with what they want. And
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to start understanding that. I got a podcast that I want to put together with my daughter and her friends. She's Tristan, what generation is she?
Gen Z, I believe.
So Gen Z. She's got about 5 or 6 friends, and we're gonna all come in here and just bounce off the wall what's going on between my
Can't
generation,
imagine
their
that.
generation, and start trying. I feel like and I'm way out of touch, but I feel like I'm much more in touch with the latest newest generations than a lot of people. And I'm not gloating about that. I'm just saying that because I feel like I'm accepting. Here we go. My dad passed away a month in October, and I brought this up about every podcast. But my dad, and I'll say this, and I've said this before, loved you much more than he did me. I mean, you were very special to him, and we're not going to get emotional here, but yeah, he did love you a lot. And sometime I'll tell the stories. I think I've told some of the stories about the pranks I would play on him about her. But anyhow, but the one thing about my dad is you never look at him and think it, but he was the most non-judgmental person in the world.
Most definitely.
And now I'm getting emotional.
Yeah.
It's not as easy doing this when you're here. But my dad was, and the reason I say that, a lot of people will say they may not, you may not, they will say they're not going to judge because they don't care. I don't care what you do. But my dad legitimately would ask you, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, well, what's that like?"
You want to know about
He
it.
was a great guy for his generation. Just that
He
appeal.
might not understood it all. He'd be like, "Well, if that's what you want to do, go ahead."
Yeah, but he's not, and I hope that I got a little bit of that him because I'll look at these generations that are being hammered, like your millennial, and then Z, I think is taking the hardest hit.
Oh man,
And we are not taking responsibility for that. So if you're going to sit here and judge a Gen Z and you're my generation, well, guess what? Those are your fucking kids. Those are your kids. You're judging.
hey, we're family friendly over here.
Well, you're not streaming right now, so this is my show.
We're about an hour in, so we're gonna take a break, yeah. But I did want to mention one story about Pawpaw. I remember one of my fondest memories of him is I bought him dinner or something. We're sitting there talking, and out of nowhere he goes, "What do you think about trans people?" And, you ever seen the guy,
Yeah, you
And
got to know my dad. We're gonna throw up a picture of him
I'll
on
throw up
this
a
for
picture
you.
of him. Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. And I said, "Well, I think they're just people trying to live their life. I know a few and all that." And he looks confused for a minute. He's like, "All right."
Yeah, he just went on with his life. Yeah,
Okay.
I love that about him. He was something. But anyhow, I feel like I do understand because I'm not going to judge these kids for something that I probably helped cause. And you throw in all that crap, and then they're talking about these kids being lazy and stuff, but we've not given them a chance. We've with this crazy COVID. situation, and I'm sorry I'm getting on my soapbox here, show, but this COVID situation that put these kids in the, these were the developmental years that they were growing their abilities to interact with one another on an adult level. Now they're going from children to adolescence into adulthood, and right in the middle of that crap, we throw in we say nobody can leave your house, and so they had to find ways, and they did. So we should actually commend these kids, these Gen Z's kids, because they found ways. They made it through shit that probably our generation would have fell down on. So I think it's time that we acknowledge that. And if we want to come together as a nation, we need to start coming together. And if it's either with the Gen Z, if it's with an opposing party, it's time to come together let's we're not going to get it through it by ourselves. I'm sorry to pull away from your podcast there, but I think it's directly related because people don't understand what you're doing, and a lot of people will judge you. But it's no different than you know, uh, people in my generation or the generations when radio started fading out in television. Well, yeah, there was people that had to become television broadcasters. They had to adjust to the change, and for us to judge people like that, because it's unfair because if they don't change, they're going to get left behind. You have to get on board.
Well, most going on television broadcasters, most of them go live now
They had to.
on platforms
Yeah.
because they have to. Sometimes the TV stations will go out and all you have is a phone and they can go live and continue to keep you informed. I mean, just here recently, with the Pope, we paused all channels just to see a new Pope, and they were live on TikTok, they were live on Facebook, they were live on YouTube. I mean, all the new channels, even news channels, are even adapting to
Yeah.
the whole just we can just
Well,
talk to anybody anytime we want to.
even our household. I mean, we don't even. I mean, it's kind of when people talk to me about having cable, I'm like,
Cable,
cable TV. Do you have to
cable.
crank that to get it going?
We
We
don't have
stream everything.
cable.
All of our networks are streamed.
Sometimes I miss it though.
But I can remember the trans when we started doing different because I'm like, but I want to see, and here is something that got lost, and so I can remember when there was a show that come on Thursday night on one
Yeah,
specific television
everybody in
channel,
the world would
and I'm
watch it.
talking about a show when there's only 3 or 4 channels. There wasn't hundreds
Yeah.
of channels on cable. Everybody in the nation sat down on Thursday night and watched that show together, and
Yeah.
you can kind of lose that. I think maybe that, but you gain so much more actually being able to interact directly with people. So I got a little off on my soapbox there, but maybe Tristan will cut some of that out. But yeah,
Oh,
I'm planning on doing my own little. I kind of put it out there a little bit on Facebook. Um, Say it ain't so, Joe. Kind of a little commentary, maybe weekly. See how that goes over. This podcast is about my guests. You tonight are the most important thing ever in this room. I mean, everything is for you, and that's the way I have it for my guests. Of course, you always get that in my heart. It
I don't know about that, but okay.
is. It is. Trust me. It has to be. It has to be.
I
But
don't know.
I know. I know that.
Sometimes.
I know that my guests are the most important, and it's really important to me when they come in that we're ready and we give them the best opportunity, and we keep continually trying to improve, because they take time out of their lives and their families and come down here for nothing,
I know
honestly.
I could be playing Fortnite right now.
Right? Yeah. So I give a big shout out to all my guests, but I don't know how well something's going to go over with just a commentary of mine, but I'm going to try to keep it kind of funny and outtake-ish, and we'll see how it goes. You don't know. I've been doing a little test trials with. Okay.
That's what I'm looking at. It's fine.
Yeah. We'll
It's fine.
cut that out, Tristan. Remember, make a mark on that. Yeah. Don told me to staple them, and I guess that's one I missed. But anyhow, I've been kind of
Sorry.
doing a little intro to the podcast to get used to it, and I'm getting a little better at that. That's something too. It takes a while, and you were looking at some of your old streams.
Yeah, they're woof.
Yeah,
They're woof.
but you got to start.
You gotta start somewhere. I can remember my very first video ever made was April 23rd, 2024. I was more starting on YouTube, just becoming like a content creator, plus doing the streaming. I was trying to do both, but now I've kind of collided them. Some people say it's not the best to do, but for me, I'm like, I don't have time to sit here on two different platforms and do this and do this. So if you don't like it, then I can't help it. But majority of the time, it's literally Fortnite. It's gameplay. But like my little videos that I make just for fun are just funny content, not
Yeah.
gameplay all the time. But I can remember it took me 24 times to make the perfect. We're not even gonna say perfect, but to make a video. I finally just said after that we're gonna do it. But 24 times because it's hard to just sit here and listen to yourself. I don't go back and watch replays. I hate the way I sound. I
It took me a
absolutely
long time to get
I
used to
hate
that.
the way I sound, but everybody's on stream like, "You sound amazing," and I'm just like, yeah, I don't think so."
Yeah,
But
it's really hard. That was and
and it's really hard to sit there in front of a camera, especially when you're not live. It's so much easier when you're live because whether somebody's watching me or not, I'm always interacting somehow, some way, because that's the number one key to streaming is you always have to act like somebody's watching you, even if nobody is. You want because if you're just sitting there
it's really hard. I'll have
and
to.
people scrolls by, you're not saying a word, they're not gonna stop.
Yeah.
They want people that are continues to be and that and so if you're playing a game, that's why it's nice to have somebody playing with you. At least a duo. If you're don't got a lot of interacting going on your chat, because at least you have that interaction going, so you're constantly talking, you're doing this, you're doing that. We have what's called the OG cluster. Cluster comes from a group of mushrooms
Because you're
as
like a dopey.
no,
You like to do a
no,
lot of
no. It's just because I
peyote.
think they're cute.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go with
Mushrooms are
that.
cute. So, like,
Let's
if you
go with
look at
that.
this, with like on this, you have my logo, which is a cluster of
The peyote.
mushrooms.
I'm sorry, mushrooms.
Stop it.
Mm.
So it's a cluster of mushrooms here, and that's what we are. We're a cluster. We're either and sometimes we're a cluster fuck. You
Uh,
never know, but we don't say that on the stream. But we
well,
have what's called the OG cluster, and that's my two cousins, Kinsey and Gucci. And
yeah.
when we're together,
I like.
it's the most lively, I would say. I'm not trying to say that against anybody else I play with, but because we can bounce off of each other
Well,
so
you've known each
much.
other
We've
for
known
so
each
long.
other so well. So our gameplay is always so much more intense and so much crazy. I'll start singing a song and then they'll rip off of me and sing a different song, and it's just always fun, and we could joke around with each other a little more than you can with others.
So that's Mackenzie.
Mackenzie and Haley.
Yeah, and Haley. They're your
Yeah, that's what I
partners
said.
on.
They're pretty much my go-to. We're the OG.
Yeah,
But then people call us the Reba cluster because
of
Reba,
the
my
pig.
pig, and be sure to I'll show you
Yeah,
Reba.
we'll get some pictures of her up and the new
And
guy
then we got
link.
new guy and Link. But Reba was a big part of the community. She
Well,
literally sat in my lap
as you
during
play,
as I played. And
and
then we have Toulouse, the cat, which everybody loves
who
because he
destroyed the set once.
he destroyed the set. It was caught on camera. Everybody watched it. But literally, I'm playing a game. There's a pig here, and the cat is literally laying on top of the pig. People come in, they're like, "What in the world?" So
Yeah.
when you have little things like that, I don't do it every stream,
Well, you need some
but
things
you
like that.
gotta have like on Twitch as you watch Twitch. It's the gaming platform. As you watch Twitch, you earn what's called a channel point. These points will build up for the amount of hours that you put into watching one person stream. Each person you watch has their own. You gain for each individual. So like I have unlimited on my own, so I can use my channel points at any time. But like when I watch like Headshot Chick or Happy Happy Girl or Savage Mike, I gain points for Headshot Chick for watching her. I gain points for Savage Mike, and you use these points to do different things in their lives. For mine, we have one that feeds Link a treat. So
Yeah,
what
you told me
will
about that today.
yeah, so
That's
what
a good
they'll do is
idea.
they'll spend their channel points and I'll pick Link up. I'll turn the big camera on so it's right there and I put him right in front of the mic so they hear the noise. It's kind of like an
Yeah,
ASMR.
make sure you get some of that over to Tristan so he
Yeah.
can put them all up on this. Yeah.
Do you ever have to worry about overfeeding him doing that, or
No,
No.
it's very little. They're just little Cheerios.
Yeah.
Just little Cheerios and
We do that.
but
We do
that's
that
it's
here
a
with
big
Tristan
yeah, if you do it
sometimes.
here with Tristan, he'll get
We'll go
overfed.
live and everyone will be able to give a little point to give
Tristan,
Tristan a treat.
give him a sushi.
Yeah, we need to get we need to get a
Well,
camera on that guy.
well today, and like I said, I set it for like a high amount. So that way you have to put in a lot of hours before you can just give him a treat. You set it a low amount, yeah, he'd probably get
Yeah, more than
overwhelmed, but I set it at a pretty high amount so that way it
yeah.
wouldn't be just treat, 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 treat,
Yeah.
treat. But everybody enjoys it. And like I said with Reba, we became the Reba cluster because of Reba. Reba
Yeah,
was everybody loved her. Everybody loved her when I brought her in on
kind
the
of a
stream.
memorial to her.
Yeah, and then after we lost her, I was pretty much devastated.
Bad day.
It was a
I was
bad,
there.
bad day,
I'll
and
say this too about that. You've had a lot of animals, and I try not to get too close to animals because I get really attached. So I
that
try to keep
one,
my. But that pig, man, she was so much just oblivious to the world, just looking for something to eat. She would walk underneath a pit
uh,
bull.
that pig was
She
my.
is
I don't
just
have like I got close animals, but I don't know because I hate going back to that subject, but because when I first started streaming was such a hard time between him and I that I mean she was literally my emotional support animal at that point.
you
Um,
needed something fat and chubby
I
like
needed
me.
something fat and chubby to hold on to, and
Yeah.
she was there. So losing her was hard. And then I got Link. I love Link, but him and I just
Yeah.
we haven't got that connection yet, but we will. And everybody on street, because he's only like this big,
He's
y'all.
he's
He a
very
little big
little
guy.
bitty.
He's a little sausage Link. He's a little guy.
Yeah.
But we named him Link in honor of Reba because the Hebrew meaning of Reba means link. So that's how he actually got his name was through Reba as well. But that's kind of what we are. We're kind of we are a Reba cluster, so we're a pig cluster.
Yeah.
Pretty much our, besides this logo, we do have another one with a pig sitting inside of surrounded by mushrooms or a pig sitting on top of a mushroom. And
Yeah. Make sure Tristan gets that too. I have to
they're really
share
cute.
that.
Like the stickers that you can use, like I talk about, they're a bunch of pigs and a bunch of mushrooms.
Yeah.
Um, my awesome husband over here was pretty good at pulling out audio, and I've learned how, but
Yeah.
he pulled out Reba's actual, get some grunts.
Yeah.
I was supposed. So when you use her sticker, it plays her grunts, and
Yeah.
it's everybody's favorite, and it's really
Yeah.
cute.
I think that's pretty cool. And then you have like different like when I come in, you do the Dukes of Hazzard,
Yeah, I let him pick.
Waylon
Everybody gets to
Jennings. Yeah,
create a
everybody gets their
sticker.
own little
Yeah, my
song.
moderators and somebody that's like a big supporter, they do. That's one thing about being a big supporter. You support me, I'll make you a sticker to make you feel real special. So I have a few of them. Antonio, him a little Mexican friend. So his was a sugar skull wearing a sombrero, and he does the low rider from Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, yeah.
That's his little song.
It's important to make people feel
So
that connection.
it's
Yeah.
just what I say when you make that connection, and then like Glitter Ninja, her profile picture is a cat. She absolutely adores cats. That's all time favorite animal, and she's the best moderator out there. So she always would tell people, to mind your manners or be kind, or she'll get you with the fly swatter. And that was what she always said every time. So I made her sticker a hat in a glitter
Hmm.
ninja outfit holding a fly swatter. And whenever you play that sticker, it makes a whoosh
Yeah.
sound. So it's pretty funny.
It's funny,
It
and
works out for
it's
each person whenever.
it,
But sadly, you can only get 50 stickers.
yeah. But you know what's crazy, what kind of weird about it is there's a little bit of creation going on there. Who would have ever there would have never been, I don't think in anywhere a picture of a cat in glitter holding it and looking like a ninja holding a fly swatter. I mean,
It's a very, very glittered,
I know
dazzled ninja outfit.
right. Well, but what I'm saying is it's interesting how create things start to create and they build
Yeah.
things like that.
Well, and another one, Keeper, when he streams, he wears a Deadpool outfit with suspenders and a Luigi hat and sunglasses. And
It's a lot going on.
I was actually able to create that
Sticker.
sticker. And because of my children over here, they introduced me to a singer. What is his name? Julian Smith.
I think Julian Smith. It's been a
Julian
minute.
Smith, and Keeper actually was a big fan of him. We learned that in one stream because I started singing. He goes, "Oh my gosh, you know Julian Smith!" Like, but the "I'd Rather Eat Randy" is my all-time favorite song
Oh, yeah,
that my
I've
lovely
heard it.
two-step kids introduced to me. So that worked with him because him and I made that connection through Julian Smith. So all my followers that actually like my biggest supporters and my biggest moderators, they get a little more special treatment than others.
So we've talked a lot about the streaming. And that's what you're here for.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what do you want to talk about now?
Well, I know that people might have a lot of questions about some other things about your life. You and I are quite a bit different in age,
Yes.
and we got together when you were young,
Very.
very young. Well,
I was legal.
of
I was
age, of
legal.
age. So you were, yeah, you were very young. And people might it's not common for someone with our age difference to make it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember. I remember looking up one time how often people stay together. That's the statistics, and
He's worried, y'all. He's all worried.
it was like 80%. Didn't make it because
Yeah.
the generations are just too far apart. The interests aren't there. The
We're going
energy.
on 10
Yeah.
married 10 years this year.
So that means we've been together for close to 12.
We've been together 12. We celebrated 12 years in March.
Yeah. So that's uncommon, very uncommon. Because like I said, the generations are so far apart that just the way they think is different. The amount of energy levels are different, and so there's
Yeah.
some struggles there. So how? Let's talk about that just a little bit. When we first started getting together, I remember you were very young. I didn't see it. I was a little blinded by that,
He's
and
blinded by my beauty.
yeah. Well, I was just I don't know. It was just and looking back, I'm like, wow, I can imagine she was. So your
You can
parents,
imagine the first interaction with my mother was
yeah, I mean,
that.
yeah, and we become really close. I talked about her one of the last podcasts
He's
about
now
how,
like best friends with my mom, y'all.
yeah, well, she's moved. She says that they vacation in Florida, but I think they really moved to Florida and they vacation here. So I don't get to talk to her as much, and I'm very busy life. So if you're not sitting in front of me, I don't have it. I tend not to be able to talk to her. I do miss her a lot, and I'm excited that she's coming home soon. But yeah, we got really close, her and I,
Mhm.
after.
Fallout. It
Yeah,
took a
it
fallout.
took us falling out and
It took
coming
a
back.
fallout to
Yeah,
get close.
I told that story once
Yeah.
already,
But you
and
and my dad hit it off
yeah, we were
really
pretty.
well.
What's your dad?
My dad was a
So
different breed.
here, I want to make you cry a little bit because I want to
No,
talk about your dad.
we're not gonna talk
So
about dad. Moving on.
the first year we met, Shelby and I, she was, I'm gonna say 19, and I'm gonna say I wasn't.
39.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a big difference, and it was you want to talk about being judged.
Yeah, we were
Yeah,
judged big
judged.
time.
Well, you weren't. I was. I
Yeah.
was always thinking. But
Everybody
anyhow,
just asked me, "Why do you want to marry that old man?"
and it just frustrates me too. But
I'm like, because I don't have to cook
so the
clean.
first year we were together, I went to 10 funerals with you. Now I'm not trying to do a downer here, but 10
10
funerals,
funerals.
and unfortunately, one of those was your dad
Yes.
on the very end there, and you had lost your brother, your older brother.
Yes.
So you were going through a lot, right?
Yes.
It was easy for me to tell you were going through a lot, and your whole family had a lot of really tough trials to go through there, and I give you all, your brother, your mom, all of your family, props for getting through that as you did. But your dad was a different fella.
Mm-hmm.
He was 100. You know what? You know who he really reminded me of, other than the cage fighting part, is Danny Stoner. He's always in a good mood. He's easy to like. He's easy to love. Danny is easy to love, and that's why everybody loves him. And it's just the mood he's in. And I long for that one day, that I can maybe cut back on some of what I do so I can really just maybe enjoy life more. But your dad was like that. He was easy to love.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's one of the reasons why I do the streaming, is to spread that.
yeah,
Kind of like my dad did. He was a very,
you know,
very uplifting guy. He would give you entire clothes off of his back.
you wouldn't
You know,
maybe.
you
Too
wouldn't
big.
want him to, but he would, because you wouldn't
Yeah.
like what's underneath. But
He's a beautiful guy. And I knew
there's
him for a brief moment, but the moment that I did, it was and his funeral, I can remember we were there, and it filled up 2 levels of church, and there was people outside. They had to have teleprompters. It was like the Pope died, in Ballard County. He was I've never heard anybody say a negative thing about him. So
except for me.
beautiful guy, yeah. And he was a big inspiration in your life. I know you guys spent a lot of time together, and you
Mhm.
used to hunt and fish, and
Mhm.
I started to realize, oh wait, Shelby's not hunting; she's getting a photo shoot.
But
Yeah, she wanted to be.
when
So
I
that was
was
fun.
younger, I hunted. Now I got
Yeah.
older and started to understand that there's a photo session involved. Yeah.
Yeah. So then when we got together, yeah, it was a little bit to get your mom on board. I think there was a trial period of testing there, but how was that with your dad? I mean, I know your mom found your.
So
Well, let's go back. Your mom found out because you were in the shower and
I
your
was in the
phone.
shower, my phone went off, and she goes, "Who's Jay?" And
Mm,
I was like, nobody." She
yeah.
she was like, "Is that your boss?" I'm
Oh,
like, "No."
by the way, you worked for me. So
I'm like, "No, this is not my boss."
yeah.
So anyway, mom actually started out like she was semi cool about it. And then she made me tell my father. I did not want to tell my father, so I chose to drive that day. I got in the car. I'm like, I'm gonna drive, Dad. He's like, okay. So I drove, and I'm like, all right, we're going at a really high rate of speed, and it could be very dangerous. And he's over here reading a paper or something. It's back when we still read papers. It seems like that long ago. But I told him, and he's kind of sat there for a minute. And it was just him and I in the car. Mom didn't go, but we just kind of sat there, and he was like, he says, "That is your boss." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "That doesn't seem right." And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah." And he just kinda let it go. He
Yeah.
didn't really say much about it. He's like, "I don't like it." He's like, "I'm afraid he's gonna take advantage of you, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "I don't think he's like that."
I've been taking advantage of you for 12 years, just so you know.
Well
Eric, if you're listening.
well, like I said, so then it came the time to actually announce that I was actually dating Joseph over here, and they kinda flip-flop. Mom was not cool about it.
Yeah.
Dad was like, "Tammy, you need to calm down, you need to calm down." And she's
Well,
like, "No,"
it's probably because your mom thought your dad would shut it down, and
I
he
think
didn't,
so.
and then, yeah.
There's more to the story that we're not getting into, but,
Yeah, it's a long story, 12
um,
years worth.
anyway, so the first meeting that my mom had, I did it I felt bad for the man. I did introduce him to my entire family
Oh, it's
in
a
one
hard day,
day.
yeah.
It was so bad. I asked him to go with me, which the sad part was him and I already had it planned. We already had it planned to go to the Opry.
Mhm.
And next thing you know, here goes my mom saying she's going, and my grandparents are going, and then my aunts and uncles are going. I'm like,
And that's been the story of our life since
oh
there.
my gosh.
Yeah.
So I was like, when I informed my parents that we were going, and I said, he's going too, whether you like it or not. The meeting that Joe had with my mom was he was nervous. He couldn't stop
Well,
shaking.
yeah,
Which I
because
mean, yeah, he's dating a 19-year-old.
ugh, when you say it like that, when you say it like that.
So he
I was
walks
so
in,
glad
he
when you
stands
turned
up.
21 and
I
you would
know he
get
was so glad when I got out of my teens.
yeah.
When my mom came up, my
Sheesh.
mom pretty much like an Indian how that's all he got. And my dad came up laughing, shook his hand, greeted him, made him feel welcome. My grandparents did the same thing. Nobody made him feel awkward except for my mother.
Mm, your grandpa was kinda ornery there
No,
for a
that wasn't
while.
that day.
Not that
That
day,
was
no.
later on.
I think they
But
were all in shock.
yeah, so it was
It was
it was
interesting.
different. It was
Yeah.
interesting, but I think it took them a little while, but they finally realized that, the man did care about me. He wasn't out just because of my age and all of that. And for anything, I think they feel more sorry for him now
Mm.
than
No.
me
You
because
know,
he has to put up with me.
I will just throw this out there real quick, and this is maybe getting a little too personal about, just me and Shelby here, but, one thing that this is something that I think people would be very envious of me of, is seeing oh, wait, not that. No, one thing people will be envious of me, and I tell people this a lot, and they are, they're like, "That's amazing. I wish I could do that with my well, you turned it there you go. And that was when you were young, and I had 2 children, one, Eden was, like,
Eden was 4,
4, and Tristan was
going on turning 12.
yeah, so and so that was a lot to ask, and at the same time, I was not going to be in a relationship with someone, and I would say it like this, that my children sitting around their table, their dining room table, eating dinner with us, could not talk about their mother, and, um
That's my
and their mother
BFF.
yeah. Well, their mother and I were together for a long time, and I know that's difficult for someone coming into a relationship.
Wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy, and, I asked a lot.
Yes.
I asked a lot.
Say that with a big yes,
Yeah,
but we made it.
and, because when things happened with, their mother, I told them, I didn't wanna I wanted to remain friends, and I didn't want it to be, I didn't wanna hate her. And I definitely didn't want my kids that everyone they loved hated each other. That's the thing. I grew up in similar situation like that. Everyone that my children even though if my children love you and they love their mom, I don't want you 2 to hate each other, and I was very fortunate that you struggled with it for a while, and it took a while, but, even then, you were on board, and then later, now you guys shop together and
Mhm.
plan birthday parties, and sometimes it can be a little awkward with certain situations, but for the most part, that's our family, that's how we work it, and it works, and I
Why do you
appreciate
think my pig is named Reba?
mhm, yeah. Well, I appreciate,
She's
you
Barboncino.
doing that. That was a big ask of you, and you stepped up to the plate at a very young age and accepted things that most people wouldn't.
No.
But I will say this, I think because of that, we have some we gave some happiness to our children, and there's no reason to hate in any way. There's no way, in my opinion. I
Well,
think
I mean,
hate is
even
the
our little
worst.
boy together doesn't sees Valerie like an aunt more
Hmm.
than anything.
Yeah, he's an odd little fella, and I talk about him a little bit, but he we yeah, because sometimes you stream in the evenings. Him and I watch movies and TV together a lot, and my other teenagers and adult children are moving on with their life. So I got another one I started with, and I try to emphasize. Excuse me. Um, when we're watching a movie, I said, "Watch out for that hate boy." I said, "That's the thing that's the worst part." You know what?
Yeah.
That's we're watching a movie. And I said, "That's hate, and that's why they're doing that." And hate can come out in so many different ways. It can be racial, it can be political, it can be family, and there's no room for hate in family, in my opinion. We have to find a way. So thanks for doing that, and thanks for you really did step up for these guys, and my children love you. My dad loves you. Even we had my daughter just graduated, and there was a post put on Facebook, and I actually reached out to their mom, Val, and thanked her because she and you got her ready for prom and spent the day together, and she put pictures on there and thanking you for that. That's amazing to me. I couldn't ask for anything more. If I had to lose that and gain anything else, I would never do it because that's so important to me that my children get to experience that. And I hope it continues. So, all right. Anyhow, back to the podcast. I got off a little bit there. I am a very fortunate man.
Yeah.
So, that being said, let's finish up. I know we've been here a little bit. Let's finish
Well,
up with
that
some.
being said, when you have a family and you're streaming, it's a lot of dedication on both sides.
Yeah, there's
When
some.
you put them all together, like I said, we got this like with us having the two oldest aren't as hard anymore, but with Enoch, he doesn't understand
Well,
why. He just sees me at home. That's
yeah.
what he sees. He sees me at
Well,
home. He doesn't, but he's getting a little better. But with summer coming up, I have a feeling it's going to be a little harder. Just like this morning, I get a phone call. I'm like, dude, I'm streaming. I can't just drive you a fishing pole. He's like, please drive me. And he just wanted a fishing pole so bad.
I mean, but he's not that much different than anybody else in our life.
No,
You're like, I need you to go do this. Well,
but
you're not working.
and then my grandma was trying to explain to him like this is her job.
Hmm.
She's starting to learn, and but he doesn't understand
Well,
sometimes. And this summer, this will be my first summer actually streaming, being a streamer and being a mom. Because during school year, he's at
easier.
school, but when he's sick, it makes it harder for me to stream because, like I said, which he calls it a really nice fancy basement. But I am in our basement, and if you knew our house, you would understand why I say basement. And then if he doesn't feel well and he's upstairs on the main floor, I can't hear him. I can't see him, so I don't like to stream when he's home. So the summer it's gonna be a challenge,
Well,
but I'm gonna make it work. Whatever it takes, we'll make it work. Like I said, this would be my first year doing it because when I started last year, I started he was still in school and then we went through summer, but I did nights when I first started. My streaming started out I streamed at night, not during the day, so that way I was with him and not streaming. And now I've done it vice versa. I started streaming like when he would go to bed, and now when he started school, changed it up. I went to daytime so that way I can be off during the evenings with him. So we'll see how it goes this summer.
well,
I'm a little nervous about it. I'm like, oh, because I feel bad because he's just like, Mom, I just want you to spend the day with me. It hits you
well,
because
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm a stay at home mom, but I'm also this streamer,
Well,
so it makes
he
I don't know, it kind of hits you in your heart. So when these bigger streamers that are got either grown kids or they're single or they're married, but their spouse is right there with them, yeah, 20 times easier than it is with somebody like me that has the other two kids are grown, but with Enoch being so little, and then I have a husband, and then you got a house to take care of, and you got this, it makes it a lot harder. And sometimes I do feel like I'm a bad mom because I
well,
choose streaming, but I
you
have to
choose
think
to
of it
work.
as I'm going to work. And
Right.
that's what I try to explain to him. I'm like, okay, I can stream and be here with you, or I can go get an actual job.
And I know. I
And,
know.
I was like, and then you're going to daycare. And so he's starting to come around a little bit, but it does. It hits you some days. And some days he goes down there and he sits with me.
Yeah.
And, it's not the most entertaining, but every once in a while he will. He'll get to stand up there beside me and we can put those clips in where he's actually standing beside me and watching me stream, and that's why I said when it comes to family, and that's another reason why I keep it family friendly, because Enoch will be in there, which he tells me all the time. He's like, "You say I'm in front of me anyway." Shush, nobody knows that.
Okay.
But
Well, I wanted to give you now, as we close, I wanted to give you the 3 questions of my podcast question, my what I call the podcast questions.
podcast, there's
Excuse
questions.
me.
You didn't tell me there was questions.
Well, you hear me tell what people say, so you kind of got an in on some of this already. But so Shelby,
So
wha-
Shelby.
yeah, we're not going to get into that. How do you feel about the state of the world we
The
live in?
what?
Yeah, the
The
state of the
what?
world. You know, the state
I
of the
live in a
world.
basement.
I know.
I'm a snail.
You know what's
I'm a
go you
slug.
you have to know somehow what things are going on in the world.
State of the world to me is not good.
Not good.
Not good.
Do you have hope?
I kind of have a little hope. I don't know.
What needs to change?
I'm not a very political person, I would say,
Well, I
and
mean, the world is a whole
I'm not a very, I don't know. I just, as a whole nation, we are separated. We are
world.
divided. As a world, we're divided.
So what do we need to do differently?
Um,
What could we do?
that I couldn't tell you.
Uh,
I
but we're
don't know. There
yeah.
might be hope. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think you hit it. We're divided, and in
We
my
are
opinion, we got
definitely
to find a
divided. There's
way.
got to be a way where, yes, there's this going on here, but we don't have to have so much negativity towards it. Like, let's try to come together, and at least there are good things that are happening. And even when a good thing's happening, the other side thinks it's not good. And I don't understand that whatsoever. I'm like, I mean, like, listen, that's actually good. You can at least applaud
A
that.
lot acknowledged.
I mean,
And
just to
within this,
acknowledge that that is one good thing that's happened. And I feel like if the world would at least just stop, I don't know. I don't know. If one person, I'm not trying to say anything negative, but big headed is the word I'm going to use. And if they would stop trying to be so big headed sometimes and just do the job and make things right, I think we could all get along.
yeah. Again, my feel on this is you got a left arm, you got a right arm, and the body suffers if they don't work together. We
Eventually,
got to
we've got
work
to.
together.
I
There's
mean, we're
too
kind of like big toes, because a big toe is what gives you balance. If
well,
you didn't have your big toe, you wouldn't have balance.
right.
So we gotta have to put our big toes back on and balance out.
I agree, 100%.
I like that. Can we get that? That's
We
my
got it.
big toe quote, y'all. That's my big toe quote. Remember that.
So, meaning of life. What do you think the meaning of life is?
Oh, Tristan already asked me this once. I said I don't know.
Well, you got a head start on it then.
No, because he didn't like my answer.
But it doesn't matter. It's your answer. It's your choice.
I don't know, because
That's what everybody says, and I don't let them off the hook.
I'm just saying you're not gonna like my answer, because I don't really. I mean, we're all just here to die. What is the meaning of life if we're just here to die,
Yeah,
though?
that is a pretty.
That's where I go with it. I'm like, I mean, yeah, I'm
Okay,
here.
let's take that into perspective, though. If we're here to die, then
So what if I'm just here?
No, but we're on a journey. We're on a journey with a destination, and there's a point to this journey to prepare us for that destination. That's what you just said.
Supposedly.
That's what you just said, and I believe it. We're on a journey,
We're on
and
a
there's
journey,
a destination, and there's a
and the
point.
destination is death.
We're here for something, and I think that, in my opinion, and this is your answer, but my opinion is that death is not necessarily closing; it's an opening of a door.
No, I feel like that's it. I mean, the meaning of life is to die, because this isn't our ending. I mean, this really isn't even our beginning. This is just, we're stuck.
It's a transition.
This is just, we're kind of stuck. So yeah, my meaning of life is to
Oh.
die. I mean, I know that it might be crude. I don't know if that's crude or
No, that's fine. That's your
whatever,
answer.
but it's like, I don't necessarily have a meaning, like my meaning of life. Oh, to be happy and be joyful and this and
Yeah.
that. Well, no, that's not really mine. Mine is to just get through this transition and be prepared, make sure I'm ready for
For the next.
the next transition,
Yeah.
that is death.
Oh, that's
And where I'll end up.
All right. Well, let's do something.
I'm
No, that's
sorry.
good. Let's get to something hopefully a little more positive. Are you happy?
But how is that not
No,
positive,
that's
though?
fine. It is, and I
But if we're
I was
really,
able to put a really good spin on it.
but I'm just saying, if that's where we're going,
Babe,
but that's me.
you got it. Yeah, you got it.
Look,
You
y'all,
did.
he's trying to like get
No,
away
I
from this.
was
He's like, we're
able
here to
to
talk about
spin it,
streaming.
so
We're
let's
not
move
going to
on.
talk about death.
I'm just playing with you on that.
You have to spin it where that's
I
it,
know,
though.
I
And like,
know.
there's something greater out there.
You're right,
so
and we're on a
this
journey
is
to that
just,
point.
we're here, we're doing these things,
Sure.
and we're trying to stay on the right track to make sure that when that day comes, we are going to go and be in just.
Now, I think you're stalling
Am I happy?
Are you
Is that the
happy?
next question?
Are
Yeah, I'm
you
happy.
happy? Yeah. You know what most people say to that? Most of the time. Sometimes,
No,
not always.
I mean, not everybody's happy 100% of the time.
Mhm.
I mean, to me, your life would be really dull if you were just happy. Like,
Well,
you
yeah.
don't got nothing going on in your life that makes you kind of sad or
There's
angry.
there's nothing I hate more than a person uplifting in the mornings. But I don't think that's the happiness.
Now, to
I think
me, I guess like
happiness is
happiness, like
in
me,
you.
I have for my happiness is I have a lot of grief. So to say that I'm happy, I guess would be a lie. Truthfully would be a lie, but I'm not going to tell people in the world that, but I
You just
mean,
did.
I did, but at the same time, if you ask me if I'm happy, I'm gonna say yes, because for the most part, yes, I'm
Well,
happy.
you
But
find happiness.
deep down, no, I'm miserable. I'm completely miserable, but that's to me not a way to
Okay,
live.
I'm gonna kinda have to translate. This is Shelby. I'm I'm hoping that, the way I see it, and I think we all have that same sensation, is there's loss.
Oh
We
yeah.
all have loss, and that loss doesn't go away,
No,
and it is not happy.
no. That's why I
However,
say
I
it's
think that we can be happy and thankful for what we
yes.
have and what we've gotten, and even more important, for those people that we've lost, the opportunity we had to know them.
Don't even base it on just
Yeah.
okay, because you're gonna get too deep. Let's just say
Mm,
I don't even base it on just loss. I mean, loss is a big factor, but just not trying to be negative or anything, but in my personal opinion, this world itself is miserable. To a point. Now, there are ways to find to make happiness. Me going downstairs, putting a stream on, yeah, I put a good smile on it, and most of the time, yeah, I can be pretty happy. But then when I'm done streaming and I'm home alone, I'm
yeah.
pretty miserable.
I watched a show recently,
But
and it really kinda hit a spot for me because I didn't have the best, youth. Growing up, I had a really
mhm,
hard time with some of my family. And this show I was watching, it kinda this and it reminded me and you because the character was a much older guy, and he was
mhm.
constantly dealing with some disaster, and he was dating someone much younger than him, and she was, like, so into him like you are to me. And
What
wow,
was that?
that was a big boom.
That was terrifying.
Alright, so before the the room gets knocked away, I wanna, do we wanna pause?
Was nice knowing you guys.
Yeah.
I'm like,
If you didn't hear that on the stream, it was like a
holy
boom,
cow! It
like a
was
bomb.
huge.
Something
Like you
just
could probably see it in Joe. I don't know if you can see it on Joe's face, but the camera was on me. You
it
couldn't
was
see it on my
big,
face.
yeah. So before the sirens start coming off, we still have
Yeah.
power, so we're still alive. But that's the characters, and he was just tore up about things that had happened in his past life, and she looked at him. She said, "Stop." Let me try to get this right. Stop thinking about the love you never got,
Yeah.
and start thinking about the love you have.
Yeah.
And I think that could play off in a lot of different ways. Not that
Yeah.
we should ever stop or forget things that happen in our life that are important to us, but always think, instead of that loss or instead of the world, the state of the world, and the misery that's going on, we just still have to focus, even like we talked about earlier, focus on some good.
Yeah. That's
Focus
me.
on
That's if
the
I can
things we
make you
lost.
smile.
Let's what don't think about the loss. Think about everything you were given
Yeah.
because of that.
But
And
that's like with me with streaming is making somebody else smile does make me happy.
yeah,
That's the one thing, especially if they're having a bad day.
there's nothing.
But majority of the time, and I'm not saying that I'm not like, I mean, I'm happily married. When you and I are together, yes. But deep down, when I get lost in my thoughts, I'm a very miserable person. And I'm not trying to say that to gain sympathy or anything. That's just me.
Right.
And I've been that way for a very long time. And for me to be able to just find things in this world, just the little things, just
Yeah.
like last night, sitting there watching Patch Adams, yeah, I was happy because it was just the
You've seen the good.
it's just you see the good in something. So yeah, that makes me happy. And that's what I try to do that. I'm like, I'm gonna change my name to Patch.
Mm,
It kinda and that kinda gives me a little more inspiration to
yeah.
do what I do because I am still the way I feel, gives me a little more inspiration to keep doing what I'm doing because that does make me happy. To make somebody else happy makes me happy.
So I'm going to end on this. Nobody's asked me, but you make me very happy. And thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for everything you've done for me and the life you've given me and the children. And thank you. And thank you for coming on my podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 10, I think it turned out great. Hopefully everyone enjoys that and checks it out. And this is our one that goes viral. So we both get
Hopefully.
super rich,
Viral. Be sure to
super
use hashtag
influential.
viral every comment.
And we both can just kind of live off of this from now on. So
Well, that's the thing, though.
and thanks for supporting me in this podcast.
Yeah,
I mean, it takes
you've
a
done
lot.
amazing.
It takes
You've
a
done
lot.
amazing.
Well, it's been a journey.
You've done
How many
amazing for
times have I
what you
quit,
have.
Tristan?
A
I think I quit
lot.
twice before we
He
started
almost
that.
quit before this
Quit
one,
like
guys.
3 times today.
I'm like, I
Well,
think he said we're done. We're
because
not doing
the
it.
things that we didn't talk about was all the difficulties with this
So
tech
yes, I mean
world.
technical difficulties with streaming is
It's
will ruin
frustrating.
you. Like it will tear you apart. But you just have to remember, you're not the only one dealing with it.
Yeah,
You're
and
not.
we'll bring that. Let's save that for another podcast. We'll do
All
that
the
together.
negatives. All the
No,
negatives.
well, no, just the part those things, those struggles that you have to deal with,
Yeah.
especially tech.
Yeah. But
Especially
no.
tech when you're not a techie. So, thanks again. Love you so much.
I love you. Everybody be sure to like, share, follow.
Yes, and if you would please, we really could use
It's a
some
natural habit for anybody that does this
everybody
job.
on our I'll just put that everybody on our Facebook page. If we could take all of those people that have followed our Facebook page and jump over to our YouTube and subscribe, that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
That'd be amazing.
That would be so great. And then also make sure we're going to tag everything Shelby's involved with, all of her channels, and how to find her on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, all those things. And see you next time.
Awesome.
Bye.
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 What exactly happened down there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I talked to him and blah, blah, blah. He asked about you guys and da-da-da-da-da, more questions, blah, blah, blah.